This is your newsroom midday brief, bringing you the top stories making headlines in Guyana and beyond. We begin with politics on the campaign trail, where a familiar face from the education sector is now stepping into the political arena. Former president of the Guyana Teachers Union, Dr. Mark Light, has shown his full support behind the governing People's Progressive Party Civic and is now stepping forward as one of its candidates. Addressing supporters at Albion on Sunday, Dr. Light encouraged citizens to stand with the party to secure ongoing growth and improvements across the country. After more than a decade at the helm of the Teachers Union, Dr. Light highlighted the positive changes he has witnessed in the education sector under the current administration. He noted that teachers and students in communities nationwide are benefiting from initiatives that promote equity and strengthen the quality of education. Dr. Light also pointed to progress in other areas, describing the PPPC's development agenda as wide-reaching and transformative. He called on citizens to focus on the bigger picture of national advancement and to play their part in building a stronger, better Guyana for future generations. He stressed that the country's ongoing development spans far beyond roads and visible infrastructure, pointing to significant improvements in education and other sectors that directly impact people's lives. He believes that the PPPC remains the best choice to continue driving Guyana's growth and urged the public to stay united behind the party's vision.
We have seen teachers across the length and breadth of Guyana, which embraces equity and diversity in the education spectrum. And I'd want to say this progress is something that we need to build on. And the PPPC is saying, forward together for a better Guyana.
Turning to crime news, the mining town of Linden remains in shock after a young mother of 3 was gunned down by her ex-partner in a brutal killing that has left her family and the wider community demanding answers. 26-year-old Janelle Polidor was shot and killed on Saturday night while attending a wedding reception at the R&R Hotel in Central Amelia's ward. Her life ended just moments after she pleaded for mercy, pleas that were ignored by a man she once lived with but left behind because of his constant abuse. Polidor had a restraining order in place after months of threats and violence, but even that failed to keep her safe. Just weeks ago, she and her family turned to the police for help when her ex-partner Shaka Phillips continued to harass her, violating the court's order and lurk around her home. But repeated reports and calls for protection went unanswered. On Saturday, Janelle left her 3 children in her mother's care and went to a wedding, hoping for a brief escape, but Phillips found her there. Witnesses say he confronted her at the hotel's entrance, pulled a gun, and opened fire. Janelle tried to run to the pool area, but he chased her down and fired again before fleeing the scene. By the time family arrived, she was gone, and so was any hope that the system meant to protect her would save her life. Police have since arrested Phillips, but for a mother who always puts others first, the help she needed came too late.
Being abused by this guy. He was threatening to kill himself at first. He started throwing gasoline on himself. He started knocking himself with a hammer in his head and things like that. After she said she wanted out of the relationship, we went to the station because he was getting abusive. He was choking her and things like that. And things like that. When we reached to the station, they told us that we had to take out a restraining order against him. We went to the court, we were given a date, and we went to the court. It was 26th of last month, we went to the court. They ordered a restraining order. After a few days after, he came here and he snatched her phone out of her hand. We went to the station with the restraining order. We made them know that this boy violated his restraining order. The police said they ain't got no patrol right now or walking. But as soon as they get one, they're going to let we know. And they never let we know.
Meanwhile, a disturbing video circulating on social media has reignited national outrage over women's safety, drugs, and sexual assault. The 20-year-old woman seen being sexually assaulted in a viral video at a bar in full view of patrons has told the police that she was drugged and raped. The incident at Raghu's sports bar in Soestdijk has prompted widespread condemnation and an urgent investigation. The bar has since been shut down by authorities. Police said the young woman reported the incident to ranks on Friday evening, alleging she was assaulted while bystanders filmed rather than intervened. The footage quickly spread online, drawing sharp rebuke from citizens and officials alike. Police have since arrested the bartender and several persons of interest, while efforts continue to locate and question other suspects and witnesses seen in the footage. Officials have urged the public to stop sharing the video, warning that continued circulation may further violate the victim's privacy and hinder the investigation. The probe remains ongoing. Minister of Human Services and Social Security, Dr. Vindya Prasad, has vowed that her ministry will continue to stand with victims and push for stronger protection to prevent such attacks from happening again. In positive news, on the international stage, Guyana is set to host a major global biodiversity conference later this week, adding to the country's growing reputation as a climate leader. Ahead of the event, UK Foreign Secretary David Lammy has praised Guyana's efforts to protect its rainforests, saying the country is well positioned to lead on global biodiversity. Speaking on the United for Biodiversity, the Alliance podcast, Lammy reaffirmed the United Kingdom's commitment to supporting conservation efforts and pledged to advocate for increased climate financing to help countries like Guyana keep their forests standing.
I think it's wonderful that Guyana is hosting this very important global coalition and the alliance coming together. Guyana is a country that has done remarkably well to protect its rainforests. It's a country with 80% coverage of rainforests, and people forget the huge importance that Guyana plays in the Guyana Shield and to the Amazon basin. And I'm very pleased that the United Kingdom continues to support countries like Guyana in their endeavors. We are absolutely committed to 30 by 30. It's essential that we get there. We also use our ICF and our climate finance, which totals £11.6 billion to contribute to supporting countries in their efforts. And we have a fund of $239 million supporting diversity and biodiversity globally. And I've seen programs in Guyana supporting fishing, for example, dealing with some of the issues and pollutions that come from mining. Essentially, it is important that we get alongside Amerindian communities. Also, they are the primary custodians of our biodiversity, and Guyana is in very good shape to lead on this agenda as well. We are absolutely clear that the UK will use its leadership role on the board of the World Bank to assist in this area and to press for climate finance solutions that support the global south, and also particularly support small island states. You know, Mia Motley, just next door in Barbados, has done a lot to lead on the Bridgetown agenda particularly, and we think that there's more that needs to be done in that arena. So it's through our MDBs, it's through our support for the Caribbean Development Bank, particularly, that we can also encourage more finance.
And finally, we head overseas where tragedy has struck in Bangladesh. At least 19 people have died and more than 160 others were injured after a Bangladeshi Air Force training jet crashed into a school campus in the capital, Dhaka. Footage from Milestone School and College in Uttara shows a huge fire and thick smoke after the aircraft slammed into a two-story building. The Air Force confirmed that the F-7 jet experienced a mechanical fault shortly after taking off for a training exercise and that the pilot is among the dead. More than 50 people, including children and adults, were rushed to hospitals with burns. The school, which serves students aged 4 to 18, was in session when the crash occurred. Witnesses described hearing an explosion and then seeing fire and smoke engulf the building, leaving the community in mourning and shock. That's all for your Newsroom Midday Brief. Stay tuned for more updates as these stories develop.